Once upon a time, in a vast, scorching desert, lived a small, delicate bird. Her life was an endless cycle of pain, struggle, and despair. She had no feathers left to shield her from the burning sun, and her frail body could barely carry her through the harsh winds. There was no shelter for her, no food to nourish her, and no water to quench her thirst. Her life was one of endless misery, and the only companion she had was her loneliness. Day after day, the little bird would walk through the desert, her heart heavy with sorrow. She wished she could fly like the other birds, but her wings were too weak. She yearned for a home, for peace, for the simple joys of life, but those seemed as distant as the horizon itself. Her world was filled with pain, and she often wondered if there would ever be an end to her suffering. One day, as the bird rested on the hot sand, a white pigeon flew overhead. The bird watched the pigeon soar gracefully through the sky and felt a pang of longing. She called out to the pigeon, her voice weak but full of hope. "Brother, please stop," she said. The pigeon heard her and descended to the ground. "What is it, sister?" he asked, his voice filled with compassion. "Why do you look so sad?" The little bird's eyes filled with tears. "Where are you going?" she asked. "I am going to heaven," the pigeon replied, "to speak with God." A flicker of hope ignited in the little bird's heart. She had never heard of anyone coming back from heaven, but something inside her told her that this pigeon might be her chance for answers. She gathered all her strength and spoke again. "Brother, please ask God for me," she said. "Ask when my suffering will end. When will my pain cease? When will I be free from this endless torment?" The pigeon, moved by the bird's plea, promised to ask God about her fate. He spread his wings and flew off into the sky, leaving the little bird behind with a small glimmer of hope in her heart. As the pigeon flew higher and higher, he eventually reached heaven, a place filled with peace and light. At the entrance, he met an angel who greeted him warmly. The pigeon, eager to fulfill his promise, quickly explained the little bird's plight. "She is suffering," the pigeon said. "She lives in a hot desert without food, water, or a home. Her wings are broken and her heart is heavy. I promise to ask God about her fate. Will her suffering ever end?" The angel listened carefully to the pigeon's words and then spoke softly. "God has written 10 more years of suffering for her. Her days will be filled with hardship until then." The pigeon's heart sank. He couldn't bear to think of the little bird enduring so much pain for so long. "But if I tell her this, she will lose all hope," he said. "Is there nothing that can be done to help her?" The angel paused, deep in thought. "There is one thing," she said finally. "Tell her that no matter what happens, she must always say, 'Thank you, God, for everything.' This is her real test. If she can say this with sincerity in her heart, her suffering will be eased." The pigeon was puzzled. "How can saying those words change anything?" he asked. "She is suffering so much. How can gratitude make a difference?" The angel smiled gently. "Gratitude has the power to transform even the deepest pain. When we express thankfulness, we open our hearts to healing. It may not change the circumstances immediately, but it will change her perspective, and that, in turn, will change her destiny." The pigeon nodded, understanding the wisdom in the angel's words. He flew back to the desert, determined to deliver the message. When he returned to the little bird, he found her still in the same place, struggling with the heat and exhaustion. She looked up at him with tired eyes, hoping for some good news. "I spoke with God," the pigeon said softly, "and he has told me that your suffering will continue for 10 more years. But there is something you must do. You must say, 'Thank you, God, for everything, no matter what happens.' Even when you are in pain, when you are thirsty, when you are tired, you must say those words." The little bird looked at the pigeon, confused. "But how will that help?" she asked. "I am suffering, and nothing can change that." The pigeon explained what the angel had told him, and the little bird listened carefully. She was still uncertain, but something inside her stirred. Perhaps this was the answer she had been searching for. So, with a heavy heart, she promised to try. And so, the little bird began her journey of gratitude. Every time she felt the scorching heat of the sun, she would whisper, "Thank you, God, for everything." When she could find no water to drink, she would say, "Thank you, God, for everything." Even when her feathers continued to fall off and her body grew weaker, she would repeat the words, "Thank you, God, for everything." At first it felt strange. How could she be thankful in the midst of such suffering? But she persevered. She kept saying those words, even when it seemed impossible. And slowly, something magical began to happen. Her weak, tattered feathers began to grow back, stronger and more beautiful than before. Her wings, once too weak to fly, began to gain strength. She could feel her energy returning, and a sense of peace settled within her heart. One day, as she was walking through the desert, a dark cloud appeared in the sky. The wind began to howl, and soon, heavy rain started to pour down. The desert, which had been dry and barren for so long, began to transform. Green plants started to sprout from the ground, and a small pond of water appeared nearby. The little bird, now strong and healthy, spread her wings and soared into the sky. Her life had changed. The pain she had once felt was now a distant memory, replaced by the joy of gratitude and the abundance that had begun to flow into her life. A few days later, the white pigeon returned. He was astonished by the transformation he saw. The desert, once a place of suffering, was now alive with color and life. The little bird was flying, laughing, and filled with happiness. The pigeon couldn't believe his eyes. "How is this possible?" he asked, bewildered. "I was told that your suffering would last for 10 years, but you have transformed in just 10 days. The little bird smiled and nodded. "Yes, my fate was written with 10 years of sorrow, but I changed it. By saying, 'Thank you, God, for everything in every situation,' I burned my past karma. My suffering has ended, not because my circumstances changed, but because my heart changed." Gratitude has the power to transform our lives, even in the darkest times. The pigeon flew back to heaven and asked the angel about the change. The angel smiled warmly and explained, "Her fate was written with 10 years of sorrow, but her gratitude changed everything. When someone expresses true gratitude, they begin to burn away their past karma. Her test was to accept her circumstances with thankfulness, and by doing so, she transformed her entire life." And so, the little bird's life became a testament to the power of gratitude. Her suffering had not been removed by a change in her circumstances, but by a change in her heart. She had learned that in every moment, whether good or bad, there is something to be thankful for. And through that gratitude, she had found peace, joy, and a life full of abundance. We all face challenges in life. At times, we may feel overwhelmed by pain, loss, or hardship. But just as the little bird discovered, we have the power to change our circumstances by changing our hearts. Gratitude is a transformative force that can turn even the darkest days into moments of growth and healing. The next time you face difficulty, remember the little bird and her journey of gratitude. No matter what you're going through, take a moment to say, "Thank you, God, for everything." You may not see immediate changes, but over time, your heart will heal, your perspective will shift, and your life will begin to transform in ways you never imagined. Gratitude is not just a way of thinking, it is a way of living. It is a choice that empowers us to rise above our circumstances and create a life filled with peace, joy, and abundance. When we embrace gratitude, we stop suffering and begin to live fully, no matter what challenges we face.